Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.
All right, so do you guys hear me? I think yes. All right. Okay, so let's start up the class. I hope in the last class we stopped at one particular method, that is your toString method. Before even teaching what is a toString method, we will have some background and then we will come into what is a toString method. Okay, so let's go back. Once you start talking, let us know. All right, I've started talking right now. Do you hear me now? Saroja. Okay. So let us start right now. Yes, can you increase the font size? Yes, I can do that. Font. So for increasing the font, you have to go to your Windows preferences and then just type in font F1T. Click on this and text font, edit this, increase it. I think this is okay. Apply. Okay. All right. So yeah. Let's start talking about what is an overriding. Okay, so we have spoken about what is overloading, right? So that is what we spoke about when we spoke about the method. We spoke about what is the method overloading, constructor overloading, and even we spoke about the method overloading also, right? Can anyone tell me, did we speak about method overloading or not? Can anyone tell me what is method overloading? Just a line, just one line. No answers? I don't see any answers. I want at least one line of code. What is method overloading? Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So where is that? Methods, method overloading. Let me go back and create a new package here and say method overloading. Okay. I just want to show you one thing. So for that reason, I just added this method overloading here. Okay. Okay, sorry, not method overloading. We'll talk about method overriding. Okay. Now, what is method overriding basically? Now, in the previous classes, we spoke about a method overloading wherein you have the same method name, right, with different signatures. And that is basically known as your method overloading. And the same thing goes for your constructor also, right? So let us see first what is your method overriding. Okay. So in this case, what am I going to do is I'm going to create a class here. So let's say cat. Okay. So I want to create a cat, and under the hierarchy, I'll be creating a cheetah. I'll be creating a lion. Okay. And yeah, those two things I'll be creating. Okay. So first let us create a cat, and in that cat you have got some properties. Let's say string cat name, and you say int speed. Okay, so at what speed it runs, right? And depending on that, you say that you have a behavior also for that particular class, and for that reason you say public void print behavior. So I'm good here. I created a behavior also, and in this behavior I'm just going to say sys out, and I'm going to say here I run fast. Okay, that's all. I mean, as a cat, any cat, let's say whether he's a tiger or a cheetah or a lion, right? So all the particular, that's the same different name with different name. Okay, so all the cats they run, all right? So but some cats they run for fast, some cat okay, I'll just say I run. Okay, uh, I can run, but I know some cat can run fast, some cat can may run faster also, right? So what am I going to do is I'm going to create a new class here, new class, and I'm just going to say it as a tiger, and this tiger class is going to extend your uh, cat. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'm basically extending my class, okay, that is a tiger with a cat. Okay, that's what I'm doing, a basic inheritance here, right? So when I do an inheritance, I know that I can basically access all the properties of the cat here, right? So apart from having a cat, in the cat it has got a cat name and the speed. Let's say when I talk about a tiger, I say tiger has got stripes in his body, right? So I give a different features to it. I just say string strip stripe length, okay, stripe thickness, because all the tigers might be having some less thickness, they might be having some more thickness also. Okay, so and the other one, let me create a lion also, new class. Okay, let me create a cheetah, cheta, and the same thing goes here. I am going to extend this to a cat. Now I'm basically talking about a family of cats. Okay, so I created a cat, I created a cheetah, the cheetah is extending a cat, I created a tiger, tiger is actually extending a cat as well, right? Now in the cheetah, I want to have some specific features. Let's say, let's for instance, let's say cheetah. Cheetah doesn't have stripes, right? So cheetah basically has got dots. So let's say uh, int number of dots. Okay, so I know that a particular cheetah will be having 100 dots. Let's say we talk about one more cheetah, one more variety of cheetah, he may have 50 dots in particular in his body. All right. So what am I going to do as my responsibility? I have to have a constructor here, and I have to initialize the particular variable here. So I basically say here, let me take this. So it's my responsibility again to initialize the value of your cat name and the speed also. So I'll just take up a constructor here and pass on the string cat name and int speed. So that means whenever I create any kind of cat family, I'll basically initialize it with some properties in it. Okay, so this dot cat name equal to cat name. Are you not using public static void main? We will use that, okay, but not here. And this one is going to be this dot speed equals to speed. Okay, so with the help of this constructor, I'm going to initialize this particular cat. So as a cheetah, I'm going to say, let's say whoever creates a instance of a cheetah, he's going to say int number of dots. This is the first criteria, and the second one is copy the same thing here and paste it here. Okay, right? Otherwise, I'll just copy this and paste it in the front here. So whoever creates a cheetah, they have to create a cheetah with a name and the number of dots also, because when you talk about cheetah, you talk about the number of dots he has got. Okay, so here I'm going to say what it says basically. It says constructor cat is undefined, right? So okay, so what are we going to do here? Go to the cat here. So let me just define a default constructor here. Okay, and let's just keep it as it is. Now from here, I'm just going to say super of which particular method. I know I'm going to call this cat, right? So I'm just going to give the cat name, comma, and speed, right? And I'm going to say this dot number of dots equals to number of dots. Okay, very simple things which I did here. I just created a cat, and under that I just created a cheetah, and the same thing goes here. Let me just copy the cat constructor here. Okay, and come to this tiger, and in the tiger I just say, so copy the name of this. Your screen is frozen. It's okay now. All right. So the same thing goes here. I just say the cat name or the tiger name and the strip thickness. Okay. So remove this, and the same thing. If I go to the cheetah here, I can just copy this one and paste it in my tiger. And this dot strip thickness equals to strip thickness. All right, very simple. Here also it's very simple, very plain and simple. And depending on that, okay, now when you talk about cheetah here, I know that on the top of the hierarchy, okay, you have got the cat here, and you have got a print behavior here. Why we are having default constructor cat? Doesn't matter here. Okay, so if you have a default constructor there, that doesn't even matter. I had got a compilation issue because I didn't had any constructors here, right? For that reason, I had some issues here, right? If you can see here, the moment I removed a parameterized constructor, it says what? The implicit super constructor cat is undefined for the default constructor. So that means in your cat there is no default constructor here. So define a constructor here. Okay, otherwise you just need to create a default constructor in your superclass. Now as a cat here, you have got a constructor with, I mean, you do not have a default constructor. So in your subclass you have to create a constructor, and you have to basically, you can call this constructor. If you even comment this out, if you see here, it says implicit super constructor cat is undefined, must explicitly invoke another constructor, right? So if you do not even have a default constructor here, you have to invoke your super constructor anyhow. Okay, because if you do not do that, you are not basically creating an instance of a particular class here at all.
Can you quickly explain what super here stands for?
Okay, I think we have already spoken about this. Let me even reiterate this again here. When you talk about super, you are basically initializing. That means you are calling a super class constructor to initialize all these values. Okay. Now what I can do here also, if suppose I'm having a default constructor, let me keep a default constructor here, and from this particular thing, right? So what I can do, I can say this dot cat name equals to cat name, and this dot speed equals to speed, right? Now for what reason I'm basically invoking this super constructor? Because already these two lines of code is already been written in your super class. over here, there's no point in writing it again. Okay, so for that reason, I'm basically taking the help of your superclass constructor to initialize the values. Okay, so what I can do, I can just comment this out, or let me just delete this and just call the super constructor here. Okay, and as you guys know already, even though you talk about invoking your this, okay, your invoking of your constructor should always be your first line. Okay, so that is what, if you see right now, you're getting a compile time error here. So this has to go to the first line here. All right. Anyone has any questions? I think we have already discussed about this. So, all right. Is it pretty much clear?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jairam. Just one more quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go back to the superclass, the cat class?
Mm-hmm.
Now in the cheetah class, you define the parameters for string cat name int speed, right?
Right.
Okay, so the parameter got picked out. So this got picked out from public cat string cat name int. Okay, int speed. Just okay, I got it. So you just extended the class cat, and it automatically picked up the parameter.
Right, exactly. Okay, because if you see here, your cat class has got these two properties. I'm just muting you because I'm getting some disturbance. Okay, so the reason, because we are talking about extents, we're talking about inheritance here. So when you talk about inheritance, all the properties which are there in your superclass will be inherited by default in your subclasses. Okay, now if I, let's say,
There is a question, why we are not initializing the cat name, speed and the number of dogs?
Why we are not initializing what?
Name, speed and the number of dogs.
Okay, we'll get into it. Okay, so slowly we'll get into it. My main motto is to talk about those things. All right, so just stay tuned.
Can you briefly explain this?
This in particular, if you do not use this here, right, you are basically accessing the local variable itself here. If you see, the color has been changed right now. That means whenever I call, let's say if I have a main method, I'll just remove this at the later point of time. If I say new cat, okay, and I just say the cat name as, let's say, cheetah, and the speed is, let's say, 100 miles per hour, right? So what happens, your main intention is, whenever you create an object of a cat, you want to create an object with a property cat name. So if I create two objects here, let's say this is your cheetah and this is your tiger, right? So my main objective is in your memory, MS Paint, in your memory you create two different objects, and each object has its own name. This is a tiger, this is a cheetah, right? Now if I do not use a this here, I can very well, if suppose the name of this particular variable, your class variable, instance variable is, let's say my cat name, right? So I say my cat name, so I can say my cat name. All right, so this is what right now what I'm doing. The moment I invoke this constructor, I take up this value, the one which I passed here, the cheetah goes here, and the same value goes, you are trying to take this value and assign it to the instance variable, right? Now here the objective is, I'm taking the same name here. So when I take the same name here, how does I make sure that I am not using the local variable here, right? So when I see, this is a local variable because it is inside this particular block of code itself. So in order to make sure that I initialize my instance variable properly, so I just say this dot cat name. Okay, I would even suggest, if you can go with my previous videos also, you can just follow these steps as well. Okay, is this pretty much clear on what is this? So this is, I guess, is being put up in the memory, correct? Yes, it is put up in the memory. In a subclass such as tiger.java, what is this stand for? What does it stand for in subclass? Okay, So you're talking about what is the use of your tiger.java? Is it so? There's a question actually in the subclass such as tiger. What does it stand for? Okay. Anyways, also, how do we know that how many new objects can be created before the heap memory gets filled up? When you run your, okay, there's a question here. It says, how do we know that how many new objects can be created before the heap memory gets filled? Uh, See, I mean, whenever you run a particular virtual machine, you run with a particular memory in it. Okay, so I can even show you that how to run a particular, how to when you trigger a virtual machine, you can trigger it with a particular memory space as well. Okay, but as in Java, you have got the garbage collection concept. We'll still talk about those things. So just stay tuned. Okay, but yes, once your object is filled up, there is a mechanism to do a garbage collection in that case. Okay, I'll show you one thing wherein we will try to fill in the complete memory and we'll see what happens then. Okay, so we'll just have it probably in this session or in the next session as well. Okay, all right, it was an interesting question. So the question was, let's say this is a complete memory size. Okay, so this is a complete memory and I keep on creating objects here, right? I keep on creating objects. Someone is big object because yeah, someone is small object. So how do you create an object here? So you say new of a particular class, you create an object. So what happens when the complete memory gets filled up? Okay, so there is a concept that is a garbage collection. There is a thread. We'll talk about a guy who's going to come and basically remove all this, I mean, kill all these objects which are still alive, and he is going to free up the complete memory unless and until a next object comes into picture. Okay, we'll talk about those things in subsequent classes as well. Okay, so
Jaya,
mhm.
I just want to, I have one confusion over here. If you can summarize it,
Mhm.
that constructor,
Okay.
for the cat class, right? There
Mhm.
is no default constructor, meaning what I mean by default constructor is no parameters.
Right.
Um, suppose that's why you got an error in one of the other child classes
Right.
or inherited classes
Mhm.
that saying that there is no constructor over there.
Mhm.
So if you have a constructor over here with empty parameters,
Mhm.
then the other class would not complain about it, right?
It will not. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So there should be at least a constructor
In the super class.
at least one, right?
If suppose, let's say in your super class, you have a default constructor, right? So in your subclasses, even though if you do not have a constructor, right, I have no problems at all. Because, okay, let me just, before even that, show you a couple of things here. Let's resume this topic here. So I commented out this thing. I commented out all the existing methods, which I don't even need it. Okay. And say it's very plain and simple class. You just have a cat. Let's not even talk about all these parameters also. I don't even need these parameters as of now. So I've got just a cheetah, and even comment this out. Even in tiger, comment this out. So it's a pretty simple, plain, simple classes. So what am I going to do? I am just going to have a default constructor. This I had it. And I'm just going to say sys out, and I'll just say I am a cat. Okay. Now, as we're talking about a family hierarchy, here I'm just going to say cheetah, right? And back. So I'm just going to say sys out, I am cheetah. And the same thing, it goes for a tiger also. Okay, so I'm just going to say tiger. I am tiger. Pretty plain and simple. And let me even talk about one more hierarchy under your tiger also. Okay, so let me say as a Bengal tiger, right? So right click, new class, and let me say it as Bengal tiger, right? So the guy who doesn't know what is a Bengal tiger, it is one of the famous tiger in India. They are in the eastern side of your India. So that's they said is a Bengal tiger. All right. So I just created a Bengal tiger here, and I'm just going to create. Okay. So this Bengal tiger is basically going to extend your tiger. Okay. So there is one more hierarchy here. You have a Bengal tiger which extends your tiger, and tiger is basically extending your cat. Okay. Now here let me even have one more constructor, Bengal tiger as a constructor. Now let me just say sys out, and I am Bengal tiger. Okay. Now let me take one more class wherein I'll just create an instance of your Bengal tiger. That's all. So create a class, let's say a hunter. Okay, hunter client, let's say. So in this I've got a main method, and we have already seen that under the same package itself I can create a class, and I can basically invoke create an instance of those objects. Okay, so here what am I going to do is I'm going to say Bengal tiger bt equals to new Bengal tiger. Okay, now let me just run this. Okay, even I don't need this reference. Even though without this reference also I can just work out. Okay, I'm just creating an instance of a particular class. So if I run this, I know that whenever I invoke this, basically it will come to this particular constructor of a Bengal tiger, and it is going to print I am a Bengal tiger. Anyone has any doubts on this? No? Okay. Now, let me just run this particular program. Okay, right click, run as Java application. Now see what's happening here. Even before your constructor, this particular constructor is being invoked, what happens? It first invokes the superclass. I would request if no one is talking, please go into mute because this will be used in the recording. Okay. So you have a Bengal tiger. If you can see here, the Bengal tiger is coming into picture. Okay. Before Bengal tiger coming into picture, it is automatically invoking your tiger's constructor. So even before invoking a tiger constructor, your cat's constructor is getting invoked here. So what is the objective here? If you are in a hierarchy, the very first thing is the supermost object or supermost class constructors will be called. Okay, because unless and until see, if your parents are not born, I mean there is no existence of you, right? So the same thing here, if there is no existence of a tiger, then there is no existence of a cat family at all. So the very first thing, your cat family I mean the initialization happens, and then goes to your tiger, and then goes to your Bengal tiger. Okay, so that is the hierarchy here. Now what if I do not have a constructor here, right? Now if I do not have a constructor in my supermost, right, if you see here, I have no problems here at all. I do not get any compilation issues. Can anyone tell me why?
Because it initially starts with the superclass and it checks for the constructor there. If it is in the current one, then it finds the constructor and then it doesn't have to.
No. Yes, I just got an answer saying default constructor. Okay. So here, thanks, Keith. So the main objective is, if you see the cat.java, it by default, if you at all do not have any constructor, by default, it has got a default constructor in it. Okay. So every class will be having a default constructor unless and until if you define a constructor with an argument, let's say cat, and I'm just, okay, let me even comment this and uncomment this. Okay. And okay, let me just take this and take this out. Okay. Now let's see what do you see? I mean, already I'm getting some compilation issues, right? So I've got a cat here. It says it is giving some compilation issues, and as Bengal tiger, this tiger has got a default constructor, so it is not giving any compile time issues there. But if you see all the other hierarchy, it is giving me a compile time error here. Okay, so here objective is if you have a default constructor, if you do not have anything, by default you'll be getting a default constructor. Just hang on for a while. Where is that? Sorry. Okay, so let me comment this out and give me a sec, please. Okay, what is this package? Method overriding. Okay. All right, so let me open this and I'll show you. So as you know, I don't have anything, right? So there is nothing, everything is commented out, right? So I do not even have a default constructor also. Let me give me a sec here. Where is that? Okay, so I've got a decompiler and I'm just going to drag and drop this to the decompiler, right? Okay, even in the decompiler you don't see that, right? But I'll show you somewhere in the Eclipse itself, right? If I double click this one, right, if you see here, somewhere here you have got a default constructor here, right? So this class, right, the cat,
H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.